Hello, everybody. Welcome to Business 400, Driving Business Opportunity. My name is Darren Cross. I'm going to be your professor for this course. What I wanted to do is put together a little course orientation video to help you understand a couple of things for the next 8 weeks. So what we're going to do in this little presentation is just talk about the ground rules, talk about the expectations, and talk about some things that can help you be successful as we go along the way. So before we get started, let me talk a little bit about me. I was actually I am a Navy veteran, so I spent some time in the United States Navy. I got out in the mid '90s, and at that time, I started working for the phone company, and I was an electronics technician in the Navy, and I became a telephone technician, and then I started going back to school, learning some things about business and leadership and strategy and that kind of stuff. And so I got promoted at the phone company, and realized that they didn't really value what I had to say, or at least that was my perspective at the time. So then I started a company. Um, I started a real estate company back in the early 2000s, and things were going really well until 2009, when we all know what happened then. Everything kind of crashed, in my world crashed. So I started working at companies and teaching and just consulting companies. And so, really, from a business perspective, I have experience in Fortune 500 companies. I've consulted and worked in them. I've started and run my own businesses for over 23 years now, and I have been coaching and consulting the whole time. I have over 20 years teaching experience as well. Back at my original attempt at a PhD a couple of decades ago, I began teaching when I first got my master's degree, and I was teaching part time. I was teaching in person and what they were calling distance education at the time. It was a little bit tougher than it is now. And then eventually, especially after the market crashed in 2009, I started really teaching a lot, and eventually I became a full-time professor. Um, I moved up in the university setting, became director of the MBA program in the School of Business where I worked, and then realized that it was time for me to leave and just to focus on the things that I love, which are only the teaching part, and coaching and consulting businesses, helping people actually see the business potential or the monetizing potential and the opportunities that they were actually looking at. So, from an educational standpoint, I have a bachelor's degree in management, I have an MBA, a general MBA, and I have a doctorate in business administration with a focus in leadership. So, I've been consulting strategy, business, entrepreneurship for a long time. And really, I developed the capstone course for the undergrad program as well as the graduate program in the university that I left. So this stuff is really second nature to me. I actually talk about it every day with students and clients. So a lot of this stuff is just second nature, and you start talking, and I already know what I'm going to talk about, just because I've been through this and experienced it and applied it so often. So I think you'll have a good time. And if you kind of just pay attention to what I'm saying to do along the way, I think that you are going to do great in the class. Everybody, by virtue of the fact that you have been accepted by Southern New Hampshire University, and you're in college right now, I'm telling you, you can do well in this course. But the thing is, you have to listen to what I'm telling you to do. And if you follow what I'm telling you to do, I'm giving you every advantage possible to be successful. I can't tell you how many times, since I've been teaching here a little over a year now, and I can't tell you how many times students have said, I have a 4.0, or as a 4.0 student, I'm just concerned, or people are concerned about their grade. I understand that. I was that person. I was always concerned about my grade. But if that's the only thing that you're going to be concerned about here, I think that you're going to miss the point. I'm telling you the answers to the test on this presentation, and then in everything that I do. You'll find that I'm very hands-on. You're going to see my face a lot. You're going to see a video each module. And if you just do what I'm saying, you will be very successful. So the other thing that I want to start out saying is this course is not a course that I have designed. Okay, there are many great parts of this course, but then there are some nuances that I think if I were in charge, I would do a little bit differently. But because someone else designed the course, you just get their perspective, and that's the way it is. But I'm telling you this because I want you to understand. In traditional situations and in other situations that I've been in, I have the flexibility to maybe not cover something or maybe not uh, drop assignments here and there. I don't have that latitude here. The deal is, this is Southern New Hampshire University's game. Uh, and I'm playing their game. So the thing is, we will follow their rules, but where I do have a little bit of latitude, I will be flexible. Okay. So the first thing that I think is one of the most important parts of this relationship is communication, because we want to make sure that that we are communicating back and forth, and that we're actually getting the messages that the other is trying to send. And so, because there are so many forms of communication, I just wanted to tell you how things are really going to go here over the course of the next 8 weeks. So, right off the bat, I get a lot of people who have questions about things that arise simply because they have not gone through the material, right? So, what I want you to do is, by all means, I am open. I'm ready to talk to you. I'm ready to communicate. In fact, I think you'll find, from what I understand, you'll find that I'm very, very accessible. Um, but the thing that I want to encourage you to do is to go through everything first before you formulate your question. It's perfectly fine to get clarity from me. That's fine. But I want you to go through and make sure that you've done your part, because a lot of times people, they get on the phone with me or they're communicating with me, and their deal is, you know what, I have an answer to that question now. So I try to be as thorough as possible. That's my goal. And provide you as many resources as possible. So I think that if you go through that stuff, you'll find that the questions that you have to ask are going to be minimized. Okay. So the other thing I want you to do is read the announcements and go through the announcements. So every week, I'm going to put out an introductory announcement for that module. It's going to be a video just like this that says, hey guys, welcome to module 1. The point of this module is whatever it's going to be. And then in those announcements, I'll have links to some other resources that are going to be helpful. I'm going to provide you an assignment template. We'll talk about that later on. I'm going to provide you an assignment template for every assignment that you have to do, and that's going to be detailed, and it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. Then I'm going to have an assignment video, which will be a screen capture video going over the assignment exactly, to let you know what you're looking for, what you want to do. I'll give you some examples of how to maybe frame your thinking. Um, Really, I don't want you to have to be concerned about writer's block or anything like that. So I'm going to give you all of these things, and they're going to help you be able to just sit down at your computer, do the work, and know what you're supposed to do for each section. Okay. Now, here's the thing. My in my intro, my instructor announcement, I have my cell phone number, and you are welcome to text me. In fact, that's what I prefer. If you want to get a quick answer, the best thing to do is to text me. Okay. It's okay. And it doesn't matter when you text me. You can text me at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. If I'm awake, great. I'll respond. If not, no harm, no foul. I'll just text you in the morning. Now, what you want to do is say, hey, this is so and so from Business 400. I have a question about this. Are we supposed to do this or that? Or you can say, hey, I'm having some problems. Can we get together on a call? So, based upon your question, the nature of your question, the richness that it might require, I might just answer it right then and there, or I might say, hey, I have some time tomorrow. Would you want to get on a phone call? Or we can even do a Zoom if we need to demonstrate something like that. I want to encourage you to pursue that avenue. I have offered this since I've been teaching at SNHU. I've offered it many times, and a couple of people have taken advantage of it. But it seems like most of the time people are like, "This is weird for me to be talking to my professor." There's nothing weird about it. You and I are in a relationship now where I'm trying to facilitate your getting to the end of this course. This is not an adversarial thing. This is not me trying to catch you or trying to take points away from you. I'm not your boss. I see my role as a facilitator to help you get through this course. We're all adults. I'm a regular person, and what I want to do is offer you every opportunity to be successful. The quickest way to get to me is by text. I've had a couple of times I've had email issues at SNHU. I think I have them worked out now, but you just because of technology, sometimes those emails don't come through. I was trying to do something by getting these emails on my phone and having quicker access to them, but that's just something that's not going to work for the way they have it set up. But then also, it's my best intent to try to get to my emails as quickly as possible. I structure my life where I time block so that I have time. And but sometimes things fall apart and I'm not able to get to that email quickly. I want to respond to you within 24 hours, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. Um, so the best thing to do is to text me. I always have my phone with me. If you text me, I'll be able to respond. And if it requires something like a richer conversation, then we'll just get together and have that conversation. So if you have any questions, just text me. That's fine. Email me if you want to notify me of things. Like if you want to say, hey, I'm going to be late with this, or hey, just letting you know I am going to get this assignment, or hey, I noticed that there was a broken link or something like that. You can notify me. And I would rather get emails for things that don't necessarily require a reply. It's not saying don't do that, but I'm saying that's what I would rather email be used for, things that are just notifying me. That's not to say that you just cannot email me. If you're not comfortable texting me, fine, just email me, and I'll reply that way. I can tell you there's so many things to do in this course. Everybody's busy. I'm looking at announcements or at discussions and stuff all the time. I do not want to have to look at the general chat, so please do not post questions there. I know there's different philosophies on this. Please don't post questions there. Um, just post them directly to me. Another thing to understand is if you might text me and say, "Hey, what is this?" um, what do you mean by this in the assignment? Instead of replying back to you, or I might say, hey, I'm going to post an announcement about this. Um, if you see the announcement, that means that I'm answering you, right? So it's okay. I want you to be okay with the fact that I answered your question in an announcement, and I usually will do that if I have two or three people who are saying something like, you know, the the business strategy simulation is showing closed. Then I might open it and then send an announcement. Take that as a reply, okay? So, but please follow these guidelines. But if you use the general chat, I'm not saying it's strictly forbidden. I'm telling you how I prefer to communicate. But I will do the best I can to respond to you within the guidelines. Um, uh, Based upon where you put things. Okay, so just please, if you can follow this, it'll be a lot easier and smoother for you. Okay, now let's talk about assignments. The first thing to note is I am I was an adult learner. Practically all of my education was after I got out of the military. I understand that life is life. I understand sick kids. I understand travel. I understand TDY and military duty assignments. Life is not as linear as we expected. So we have to have some flexibility. Therefore, I am flexible on due dates, even though the policy for SNU is to apply that late penalty. My personal policy is I'm not even thinking about that in the first week. Okay. So I am flexible when it comes to your assignments. If you need a couple of extra days, you don't have to request it from me. Just go ahead and take the couple of days. Email me and let me know. Right. So um, just you could just say, hey Darren, I'm TDY, I won't be back until Monday. I'll get my assignments in by Wednesday. That's fine. You don't need a response from me. Just notify me and assume that everything is okay. Okay. If you need more than a week, reach out to set up a meeting. I just want to make sure that we're not getting in a situation where you're going to get too far behind, or if you need resources or something like that, I want to be able to point you in the right direction to help you with whatever situation you might be in. Okay. So if you need a more than a week, then let's have a conversation about that. But if it's less than a week, if it's just, I need a couple of days after the due date, that's fine. Notify me, assume it's good, and keep going. Okay. Do not wait on a response. Keep going. The other thing is, what's going to happen is by Wednesday, if you haven't turned that assignment in, I am going to give you a temporary zero. Usually on Wednesdays, I'll put a temporary zero in there and I'll say, hey, you're getting this temporary zero because you haven't turned the assignment in yet. Please turn it in ASAP, that kind of thing. Just because you get the zero doesn't mean that you've lost the opportunity to turn that assignment in. That is not going to happen in this course, okay? No matter what, I want you to make sure that you turn every assignment in, okay? So make sure you turn everything in, even if I've already given you a zero for it. All zeros are temporary, okay? Unless there's some other reason, like a plagiarism reason or something like that. But make sure that you turn in all your assignments, okay? Now, there is no wiggle room on discussion boards. The idea is I want you to actually engage with your classmates within that week. That's the point of it. That's supposed to simulate the classroom, right? So I will apply the due date according to the rubric. Okay, so the rubric says if you turn it in, if you did your initial post 2 days late, 2 days or more late, then you get 0 points for that part of the rubric, right? So there's no wiggle room on that. I will apply a late penalty for that. So even though I'm relaxed, I want to let you know you should work with some kind of strategy, right? So you shouldn't just be like, oh, I'll get to it, I'll get to it. You should have some kind of strategy. If you're not going to be on time in a week, make a plan on how you're going to get caught up. I'm telling you, if you get too far behind, you're going to be stressed out. And you're not going to work. You're not going to turn in quality work. And you're just gonna. That's something that might internally encourage you, just not to finish the assignments, right? So if you eat the elephant one bite at a time, you'll be okay. And if you have any problems that you think are going to cause a huge delay, then let me know. There's always a solution. We can work something out. My goal is to help you get to the end of this course successfully. My goal is not to weed people out. My goal is not to make things difficult. I want to make things easy. Okay. So the thing is, there's always a solution. The best thing to do is to communicate with me if you have any issues that are going on, and we'll do what we can to work through to that solution. Okay, now let's talk about the content of your assignments. You are in college, so I expect college level work. Okay, now I think that everybody has been indoctrinated throughout our lives, and even a lot of my colleagues, their philosophy is you need more stuff in this paper. In the world of business, that is not true. Executives want a thorough um, um, presentation of the things that matter. And often, if you're doing some kind of analysis, the more thorough, the better. But often when you are reporting things, when you are communicating information, what we want is efficiency. So efficiency is going to be key with these assignments. What I want you to do is use the headings. Everybody, I always say this when I'm face to face in a classroom. I call this a hold your face moment. Everybody look at my face. I want you to understand this point. Right now, if you're fiddle farting around and like on your phone, or if your kiddo is in a room with you, or if somebody's talking to you, I want you to tell them hold on for a second so that you can look at my face. So look at me right now. Use the headings from the prompts on your assignments. You have no idea how much easier that is going to make your life. So when you're looking at the prompt and you have those things that you're hitting, put those as headings on your assignment. You want to use those headings because that's telling you what you're talking about. Half the battle with college work is knowing what you're talking about. I'm not saying that know that you have a deep understanding of it. What I'm saying is knowing the thing that you're here to talk about, like knowing, being on point with what we're actually talking about. If I ask you what time it is, don't tell me the skies are cloudy, right? The thing is, you want to at least be focused on the thing that we are after, and headings will do that. Okay. And I want you to do that even for the discussion boards, because here's what happens. A lot of times people actually get into these assignments and they are off in the weeds, and I don't know what they're trying to say, but they knew what they're trying to say. and I'll say, hey, you didn't cover this, and they're like, no, that I covered it. This is what I was saying. No, there's some interpretation there, and unfortunately, I'm the one who has to make the final call. I don't want to. If I see that you are attempting, if I see that you are talking about something, then my thing is okay. That counts. I will count that point. I will count you as having talked about it, covered it, but I want to make sure that you do it in a thorough way. So a lot of times, if you just have that heading, it says, okay, I know what I'm talking about. They're talking about what time is it? I'm going to talk about time. I'm not going to talk about weather, right? So make sure that you're using those headings even on your discussion boards. And you want to address each element of the prompt fully but efficiently. What are we really saying? I want you to, on the next element here, I want you to actually use direct language to address the prompt. So if they say, discuss the profitability of this company, then you want to say, in 2021, this company had profit of blah, 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 blah. Okay. You want to actually address it. What is the mission? Talk about the mission. The mission is, right? So you want to use direct language from the prompt to actually show that you understand what they're even asking. All right. And then also don't address things that are not required by the prompt. A lot of times people feel like they need to flower things up. I want you to do this as efficiently as possible. I want you to ignore page numbers and all of that stuff. I just want you to follow the prompt. And I'm gonna tell you something in a minute that's gonna be helpful for you, but I want you to be as efficient as possible. That doesn't mean that I just want you to not cover the material, and we'll talk about that as well. But I just want you to not get off in the weeds and start talking about things that we haven't asked. Okay, so stay focused on that. We are going to use APA guidelines. That is the guideline of business, right? So business academia, right? So I know I've noticed some things. I feel like people are trying to do APA, and SNHU has been a little ambiguous with this because some of the templates that they provide um, are not really APA. They're APA adjacent. Um, and I'm not saying that I'm going to be super strict, but the thing is, I want you to at least adhere to the main premises of APA, which are, you're going to use a title page. You're going to be like a Times New Roman font. That's probably the best way to go. Double space throughout, not like in between paragraphs you put an extra space because it just feels like it. It would be better. No, none of that stuff. Use the proper headings. Use in-text citations properly. And if you adhere to that stuff, I think you're going to be okay. Another thing. So right here, there's a link. I'm going to actually provide this PowerPoint. If you're watching this video, you already have access to this PowerPoint. But this link here takes you to SNHU's resource to help with APA style. And then you'll also find in that with this video, you'll find another video that's the better writing video. It goes over a template, and I'll give you some hints on how to write better. Okay. Now, here's the thing that I wanted to tell you. For most assignments, not every assignment, because sometimes you don't really need it, but for most assignments, I'm going to provide you with a template. Now, also, SNHU provides you with a template sometimes. I don't want you to use their template. I want you to use my template. My template is going to do a couple of things for you, right? It's formatted properly, so you don't have to worry about the headings and the headings from the prompt. I will actually put the headings from the prompt in there, and they'll be formatted properly. You'll have the title page, you'll have the double spacing, you'll have the right font, you'll have the headings in the right places where they're supposed to be. All you got to do is put your information in there. It'll keep you on focus. One of the things that's going to happen in this template is when you go into the various parts of the paper, you are actually going to have some more information about what we are talking about for that part of the prompt. So I'm giving you even further detail on what to do for that part of the assignment. So when you're looking at like the intro of an assignment, I'll say, hey, this is the intro. Here, what we're trying to do is this. You want to do something like this. This should take one paragraph. This might, you might need two paragraphs to cover this. So the thing is, use that template for every assignment and you'll be good to go. Another thing that I want you to do is watch the assignment video. What I'm going to do is actually open up that template and we'll go through element by element, and I'm going to talk about what I'm looking for with that part of the prompt. So I'm telling you exactly what to do and what to write about with that element of the prompt. Sometimes it's going to mean there are things that I'll say, hey, I want you to structure it like this. And so sometimes everyone is structuring it like that. And you might see some plagiarism issues. Those issues are going to be okay because I'm telling you to structure things in a certain way. Okay. But if you use my template, watch the assignment videos, that's going to make life so much easier for you as you go to complete each of those assignments. Now, the last thing on these assignments is plagiarism. I want you to pay attention to this. I take academic integrity very seriously, and I want you to as well. Every session, I've had to talk to someone about academic integrity. Sometimes it was straight someone trying to cheat the game. Sometimes it's I just really didn't understand how to do that. My goal is not to scare anybody or to kick anybody out of the program or report anybody or anything like that. But I do want you to take it seriously, and I will report items that I think need to be reported. And items that I think need to be reported are things that are clear cases of I was trying to just shortcut and make life easier for myself. I'm telling you, it's not going to make life easier for you. It'll be easier just to do your own stuff. What I've found is that people tend to want to find an online resource that's going to help them with the thing that they are trying to do. That's great if you're looking for details or true citations that you can use for an assignment. And often in these assignments that we're going to talk about in this course, I lead you to that. So we'll say, go look this up, right? And so you want to be able to cite that stuff. But the thing is, most often what people say is, like we talk about value proposition a lot. People want to go and do like they'll Google value proposition, and then they'll start copying and pasting that stuff into their value proposition. And that is not helping you because you're not even addressing what we're talking about. You're giving me general information about something that's specific. I want you to just rid yourself of the notion that you have to Google everything that we're talking about in this course. If you follow the path that I'm leading, I'm going to give you resources that should be helpful. Okay. So most often when we have issues like this, people say, well, I was Googling stuff and I put that in there and I didn't mean to do this, or you look for an example from somebody else and it just caused your problem. So here's the thing. When you turn in your assignment, it goes through Turnitin plagiarism detector, and it'll give you a similarity score. If your score is yellow or red, you need to look at it again. Okay. And you need to make sure that you don't have plagiarism. Basically, you can see where they're saying that came from. So if it's yellow or red, they're saying, hey, there's a couple of things going on here that other people have done. And I've had this situation a couple of times where someone turns in an assignment and I see that someone else from SNHU turned in an assignment before. That's basically the exact same thing. There have been times when someone turns in an assignment and the original student was actually in my course too. So I'm looking at both assignments and I'm like, this is clearly a case of I'm just going to use their assignment but change some words. Don't do that. I know it's tempting. You feel like it's going to be easier. I could just use your assignment and adjust it for what I'm doing. It's going to be easier just for you to do your own assignment. It's going to be harder to do that, okay? Don't copy and paste stuff. Just don't even do that. You wanna make sure that you're making an original contribution. So don't even copy and paste stuff from a class that you did before. Now there's gonna be some stuff you want to paraphrase, but there's gonna be some stuff that you have to that's gonna show similarity, right? So if I'm telling you to put the headings in, right? So everybody's gonna have the same headings. you might have some things that you are quoting. For the most part, you don't want to quote. Quotations are only used if the exact words are important. And most often, the exact words are not important. You want to just say what that thing means to you, right? But if you do quote, so a lot of people say, if I quote, then I'm not plagiarizing. That's true as long as you cite it. But the other thing is, it really detracts from your paper to have a paper full of quotes, and then you're trying to figure out citations and that kind of thing. You only want to cite things that you're putting forth as a fact, or that you want people to accept, or if you know that someone said something. So if I say, you know, most business owners are frustrated. You don't know that most business owners are frustrated. So if that's an assumption that you want us to accept, you have to cite that. Where did you get that? Where did that come from? If you want to say happy workers are more productive, that's not necessarily true. In fact, there's there's some research that could challenge that, right? So where did that come from? You don't want to make general statements like that. They require citations. Now, there are some things that you do want to quote. If you're talking about mission statements and vision statements and things like that, or strategic vision, those are things that are coming directly from the company. So it is appropriate for you to actually use those exact words. So that's the kind of stuff that you want to quote. Okay. Other than that, you want to paraphrase, which is to say that you want to look at what the statement is, and you want to say, okay, what does this really mean from my standpoint? Write it out from your standpoint, and then make sure that it follows the 5-word rule, which is no more than 5 words in a row are consecutive, right? So if you have 5 words in a row, most detectors are going to pick that up. All right. So make sure, I mean, I'm telling you, if it's yellow, I'm going to look in and I'm going to be scrutinous. So if it's not, that's not even something that I have to look at. So you might as well do the work ahead of time. If your stuff is yellow um, or red, look at it again, do what you can to reduce it. Sometimes you're not going to be able to, because, it's such a small assignment, and, 30% of it is similar, because there are things that are going to be similar if you have a template, right? So, um, but what you want to make sure is that you're not actually pulling work from somebody else. Okay. Now, grading and feedback. I want you to understand that for the most part, what I'm going to do is have project related assignments graded by the end of Wednesday. That's my goal. Okay. So I'm working on the project related assignments first. Now, that's my goal. And a lot of times I'm going to be on that goal. Sometimes I am not. I will do everything that I can to have everything graded by Wednesday on week 1 and on week 4, or after week 1 and after week 4, because those assignments do lead to something else, right? So after week 1, when you're in week 1, you are selecting a company and a product, and a lot of times that doesn't work. And so you need to understand that. I'm going to do everything I can in the Module 1 video to help you understand the type of product that we're after. But you do need some feedback before you start on those subsequent assignments. That's going to happen in Module 1, and it's going to happen in Module 4 as well. We're going to do business model canvas, and then in the assignment in Module 5, it's going to be an improvement on your business model canvas. So after Module 1 and after Module 4, you need me. Other than that, you do not. So don't wait on me. Do not be thinking, I really wanted to get that assignment so that I can. You need to know how I'm going to grade, and that's understandable. But you really just need to keep moving, except after Module 1 and after Module 4. I want you to wait for feedback, and I'll let you know that in the videos, okay? So those project assignments, my goal is to have done by midnight on Wednesday. Every other assignment, I'm going to have done by midnight on Sunday, okay? I want you to understand something. The guideline with SNHU is to have these assignments graded 7 days after the due date. I do everything I can to grade them as soon as I can, but I always have them graded on time. So what I want you to understand is that even though you turned it in, it doesn't mean that it's going to get graded soon but it won't be graded past that Sunday. I try to stick to these guidelines that we have here, but I have a life too, and sometimes life hits me, and I'm trying to figure stuff out as well. And sometimes I'm not meeting that. I'm well aware of it, and I will get these things graded as soon as possible. But I will break my neck to have them graded by the Wednesday following modules 1 and modules 4. Other than that, don't stress yourself. Keep moving forward. If I don't have them done by Wednesday, I'll have them done as soon as I can by Sunday. Okay. Um, and here's how I grade. I will go in the discussion boards. You'll just see the rubric, right? So I'll let you know whether or not you're hitting the elements of the rubric. Now, I am, when I'm responding to your discussion boards as a participant, I might be giving you some ideas about how to improve things, and I'll challenge you and things like that. That is not my critique. That is my participation. My critique will come separately. So some people are like, you seemed happy. You made positive comments. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and berate you in front of all of the class, and I'm not going to be negative or be super critical. But I'm going to help to encourage. I'm going to draw out stuff. That discussion is for you and everybody else in the class, right? But when I actually do the grading, I'm going to hit the elements that are required by the rubric. So you might be confused and say, "Well, it seems like he was happy with it, and then he hit me for this." There's a little bit of discrepancy there, but I'm going to grade you fairly based upon the rubric. When it's an assignment, you'll see that rubric, and the rubric will have pretty general comments because I'm going to make inline comments on your assignment. So you'll see me say something often like, "Hey, good job on this. Please see the graded rubric along with my comments on your assignment." And then in the assignment, you'll see comments. Now, sometimes, almost every session, there's someone who cannot find the access to those assignments. And the very general, I think it's the first mod or the pre-module, like the introduction to the course. There's an entire thing on grading and feedback that tells you exactly how to go and look at that. However, if you have any problems, reach out to me and I'll point you directly to that. Because as we go forward, you are going to want to incorporate some of that stuff, right? So you want to know how I'm grading and what I'm saying, so that you know how to actually adjust yourself as you go forward. I, as far as the points are concerned, what happens is I actually assign the points according to the rubric. I did not design the rubric. So what I'm saying is, okay, the rubric is saying that this thing exists, and then I go and look. I'm looking for a couple of things. Did you do this in a full, thorough, and complete manner? Creative manner? Did you present it well? If so, you'll get the most points. If your deal is, technically they did talk about it, then you'll get proficient. If you missed elements of that, then you'll get some elements of it, then you'll get needs improvement. And if you completely missed it and you don't talk about it at all, you'll get 0 points. And I'll say, hey, I don't see that you attempted this. When you look at your grades, that's absolutely fine. I'm human. If there's something that I missed, I've had that in the past, like with some PowerPoints. People are like, "Yeah, I had some instructor notes." That's fine. Just let me know, and I'll take a look at stuff. Now, I'm not inviting you to just every time critique everything that I'm saying. But if because what's going to happen is if you say, "Hey, I felt like I did better on this," the first thing I'm going to say is, "Let's have a conversation," and I will tell you, what I was thinking when I was grading it. The other thing to think about with your assignments is that if you are completely missing the point, so if I look at your paper and I see that you're completely missing the point, I will assign you a temporary 0 and send it back. Or if it's like, man, this is not going to be good if I grade it, so I'm going to send it back to give you another opportunity. It seems a little unfair because it's like, well, if I do well enough to get an 80, then he'll grade it and give me an 80. But if I do well enough to get a 30, then he'll send it back. And so some people didn't do, they just didn't make a great effort there and send it back. It seems kind of unfair. I will actually entertain things. If you get less than an 80, I will entertain improving that grade if you want to make another attempt at it. So you just got to reach out to me and really, you don't have to reach out. You can just redo that assignment, submit it again, and to put it back in the queue, and then put a note in there saying, "Hey, I wanted to redo this assignment," and I'll take another look and see if you can get any more points back. I'm willing to do that to give you guys every opportunity to do well. Okay. If you're going to do the extra work, that's fine with me. I'll grade it again. I don't have a problem with that. So again, I want to give you every opportunity to be successful. So the main things I want you to take away from this: follow my instructions. I'm giving you everything. Okay. So in each module, I have an introductory video that tells you, hey, this is what we're talking about in this video. So therefore, when everything that we're doing is related to that topic, the assignment is related to that topic. So you should be talking about that topic. But not only that, I give you a template that tells you how to structure your assignment and what to talk about and how to say it and what we're really addressing with each element of the prompt. And not only that, I give you an assignment video. This sounds like an infomercial, sorry. I give you an assignment video that actually goes through that template and explains in detail what I'm looking for from each element of the prompt. If you follow those things, I cannot see how you don't do well in this course, okay? Another point that I want you to take away is text me if you have any questions. There is no problem that we cannot work through with communication. Okay. Text is the best, quickest form of communication. And if you follow all of these rules, I think that you'll be successful. Okay. So good luck to everybody. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. Good luck.